welcome to today's workout. We're going to begin down on the floor today in a side pretzel shape. Come down onto your left side, propping yourself up onto your left forearm with your left shin in line with the front of the mat. Right leg is back with toes touching the floor. We're going to begin lifting and lowering the right knee to the ground and then up behind. So keeping the core engaged here, making sure that the body isn't rocking back and forth and that the only movement is coming from the right leg lifting and lowering. So we're rotating here from the hip. So the entire leg is lifting and lowering. Your knees should feel really easy breezy. Moving to tiny little lifts, coming down onto your left elbow if that feels more comfortable. So if you feel any pinching in the hip, then come down to the left elbow. Reaching the crown to the front of the room. Lifting the entire leg now, moving it forward in line with the left leg and then back behind. And again, keeping the core engaged here. So not rocking back and forth. And if you notice you are, maybe slowing down with the move. So resisting forward and resisting back. Really squeezing the glute as we move the leg back. Giving a tiny squeeze at the back. There should be a little space between your core and the mat. So really lifting up away from the floor. Everything that's touching the floor, push away into the floor and notice how your body turns on. Extending the leg back fully now, so bringing them knee to knee and then pressing the right leg back in this kick position. Lifting and lowering the toes in an extended position, really pressing and reaching the toes to the bottom of the room, elongating the body, maybe coming up onto your left forearm if that feels more comfortable, and really trusting your body here. So everybody's bodies are different and one position might not feel as comfortable as another for you. So trusting yourself. Reaching your right arm up overhead and your right toes away. We're going to begin twisting and crunching the body. So really reaching the hand and the toes as far away as possible and then drawing them in and crunching the side obliques, resisting away and resisting towards each other. Staying in this twisted position, tiny lifting with the toes at the top point of contraction here. Lifting, 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 really squeezing the glutes at the top. Then bringing the knees together and we're going to do a side clamp here. So the toes are touching, the torso is still, allowing the head to reach forward and we're just lifting and lowering the right knee. So squeezing as your knees open and part, hugging the core in, keeping the rotation in the torso as minimal as possible. Maybe placing your hand on the floor for support and then holding in this extended position and letting it all go before we move to the other side. Coming down now to the other side. Bringing your right forearm down to the ground. Your right shin bone is in line with the front of the mat and your left toes and leg are slightly behind. We're going to begin by pivoting the left knee up to the sky and back down to the floor. So the left toes are touching the ground and they're creating the anchor for the pivot. Pressing everything that's touching the ground away And notice how this creates a resistance and a further stability in the body. So it enables us to engage more muscles than just the glute muscles we're working. Squeezing the glute as you rotate back. Keeping the belly hugged in, the torso still. We're tiny lifting now at the top point of contraction. Maybe coming down onto your right forearm if this feels more comfortable. No pinching in the knees, no pinching in the neck. And just lifting and lowering the knees, really contracting at the top point of contraction. Bringing the entire leg now knee to knee and then pressing back. So bringing knee to knee, creating that resistance forward and a resistance back. Really pressing the left toes to the back of the room, feeling the glutes contract as you reach back. And the torso again should be quite still here. So hugging the belly in, creating that force field of stability around your core. Squeezing the glutes as you reach back. We're going to begin by extending the leg fully now. So coming knee to knee and then pressing back with the toes. And as you reach your leg back, try to create a little press back at the full point of extension. Really reaching your toes as far away as possible and squeezing the glutes here. Hugging the belly in. Remembering to breathe, breathing out the heat, breathing out the fire, maybe feeling your body warming up now, welcoming the fire, keeping the leg fully extended. We're going to lift and lower to the sky and to the ground. And this is an active lift. So we're resisting on the way up and resisting on the way down. If you notice my body isn't moving at all apart from my leg, maybe coming down onto the arm if your neck feels this pinching sensation. I often feel a little pinch in my neck, so I remind myself here to extend my crown to the front of the room. Bringing knees to knee, and we're going to do an open clam. So bringing toes together and we're lifting and lowering the left knee. So the pivot point here is from the hip points. So we're lifting the entire leg open to the side and then closing it down to the knees. Really remembering to squeeze the glutes at the top, getting the most out of this workout. Maybe feeling appreciation for your body for this workout today. And then extending the leg out, lifting the left arm up overhead, holding. And then letting it all go. Coming down onto your back now, ready for our bridge series. Just allowing the feet to come a little bit in front of the knees. So the knees should feel no pinching sensation whatsoever. Allowing the arms to rest by your side and parting the feet to hip distance. We're going to begin by lifting and lowering the hips. Slow and controlled. Really feeling every vertebrae lift as you raise your hips to the sky. Keeping the top of the shoulders placed on the floor. Allowing space in the neck. Allowing your gaze to come up to the ceiling. There's no need to look at your belly here. Breathing as you move. Exhaling as you lift. Inhaling as you lower. And allowing your glutes to feel that contraction, feel the awakening, feel the warmth coming into the muscles. Holding up, we're going to tiny lift at the top point of contraction. So lifting and lowering just slightly at that top point of contraction. Remembering to breathe here, welcoming the fire into the body and breathing out the heat. Lowering and lifting the hips. really pressing down through all points that are touching the ground here. Maybe lifting the arms up overhead, seeing how the different positions of the arms influence the movement. And if you notice your ribs flaring at all, just welcoming the ribs down towards the hip bones. Lifting the right leg now up into a 90-degree angle. So as you lift your hips, we're also lifting the right leg. Maybe touching the toes slightly to the ground on the way down. Breathing out as you lift, and then breathing in as you lower. Wherever your mind wanders off, just bringing her back to the movement. Breathing into the movement. We're going to start kicking the leg now, so bringing the right knee into the chest, straightening the leg up to the sky, and then bringing it back down, keeping the hips slightly raised as you do so. You can also just stick with the bent leg position here if you find that this is a little bit too much. I had to take a little break because I was truly feeling the burn. Placing the right leg down now and just lifting and lowering the hips. Using this as our little break, our little pause in the movement. Breathing the fire out. Welcoming the warmth, feeling alive through the movement. In a neutral position in the spine as we lift and lower the hips. Bringing the left leg up now into the 90-degree position and just touching the toes down to the ground on the way down. See if you can keep your hip points still. So keeping them in line with each other, allowing the hips to stay in line and not allowing one to lower or raise more than the other, creating an imbalance. Moving to kicks now, so bringing the left knee into the chest, straight up to the sky, and then lowering the leg straight down to the ground. Again, trying to keep the hip points stable and in line with each other. If you find that this is a little bit too much, I'm taking a break here. You can stick with the bent leg position and just touch your toes to the ground here. Pressing everything that's touching the ground away for extra stability. Lifting and lowering the hips again, flushing through. Remembering to breathe out the heat. Showing some compassion for your body, for moving today, to showing up to your mat. Lifting the heels now, maybe moving your legs in towards the body slightly. Staying with the lifting and lowering of the hips. We're just holding our heels high. Gazing up to the sky. See if you can relax your face, create a softness in the rest of your body. Holding up now, we're just creating tiny little pulses at the top. You can hardly see me moving because it's just the tiniest little movement and contraction at the top. Squeezing the glutes in together. Pulsing the knees in and out. Lowering the heels now and just lifting and lowering the hips again. Squeezing the glutes in towards each other at the top. We're almost at the end. Breathing out the fire for these last moments. Really squeezing and getting the most out of these squeezes. And then relaxing and bringing your knees in towards each other, giving yourself a little stretch. We're going to move into our core workout, coming down into a plank position, hands a little bit broader than your shoulders, chest broad here, and we're going to start lifting and lowering the knees to the ground and up, gazing forward, Really hugging the core in, creating that support for the spine here. Just gently lifting and lowering the knees to the ground. Placing our weight in our fingertips and the pads of our hands, allowing the weight to distribute out of our wrists. Breathing as you move. We're going to start alternating knee drivers to the ground, starting with the right, just tapping the knees to the ground here. Broadening the chest, allowing the shoulders to roll backwards, squeezing the core, squeezing the glutes here, breathing out the heat. Keeping the knees high now, we're going to lift the right leg, bringing it into our chest and back. So bringing the knee in towards the chest and kicking it slightly back, hugging the core in. And if you notice here, there's no movement in the top part of the body. Squeezing the glutes as you kick back, dropping the right leg here, moving into downward dog for a stretch. Lifting the left leg now and drawing the knee in towards the chest and then extending the leg up and back. So really reaching the toes to the back of the room and squeezing the glute as you reach back. Bringing the knee in to the chest. You can also move to your knee here if that is a little bit too intense. I think I was really feeling it here. Just bringing the knee in and extending it back with the right knee down. We're working the same muscles and you're getting the same benefits here. Coming back up into a plank position now. We're going to start circulating the knees, alternating legs. So bringing the knee in and just creating a little half circle near our wrists. Making sure to hug the belly in for extra support as we're using multiple muscles in the core here. Really breathing out the fire. Coming down onto a belly down core, reaching the arms up overhead, reaching the toes back. We're going to begin drawing the elbows down towards the ribs, lifting the chest slightly, squeezing the upper back. Working our back core here, focusing on full core in this workout, creating a little tricep extension at the full part of the extension here as the elbows are back, reaching the arms down towards the feet and then back up above the head. If this feels a little bit too intense on your neck, you can keep your head and forehead touching the ground. Alternating arms now, keeping them overhead, drawing one back at a time. Really focusing your attention on the one shoulder at a time. Bringing your hands down under your chest. We're going to meet with our elbows down now, continuing with the lifting and lowering of the knees. Gazing forward, hugging the core in for support here, broadening the chest, really pressing the elbows down and forward. Hugging the core in for extra stability. We're going to move to pikes, so piking the hip bones up towards the sky, allowing the head to come down, allowing movement through the shoulders. Pressing the elbows down and forward and hugging the core in for support. Meeting in a plank here. Holding, and then letting that go and coming into child's position, reaching the hip points back and allowing a little stretch through your shoulders. Really reaching the arms forward. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you in another video soon.